we're back.
Your
What, Mel?
your teeth appeared on the screen before anything else. It was like there's just a second where the whole screen was black and just your teeth were there.
Just my teeth? That's hilarious.
Fucking
Well, good thing I
terrifying.
brushed them. I brushed them today, so good thing.
Maybe that's why the camera was just like, whoa.
Yeah, camera didn't know what to do. It was just blinding.
I have to say though, I have to say, as an Australian, he's seen both sides, influenced by two separate cultures very heavily, America and the UK. I have to say, Americans have very white teeth as a general, whereas
Yeah.
our fellow Brits are not, the teeth are not the thing that they focus on as a general. So, as an Australian growing up with heavy influence from both these sides, it's very confusing. The messages are confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be very hard for you Australians to decide. Do you
But
want
I
do
have
you
to
want
ask, do a lot of Americans get veneers?
No.
Why are your teeth so fucking white and straight all the time?
I don't know. I think we're just God's blessed country. What do you want to say? No, I
I
think
knew it.
yeah, just God he said, I shall give this to you. No. We deserve this. We deserve good teeth, Melanie, okay? I don't
The
know. I don't
last
know.
thing you've got.
Yeah. No, I don't know what it is, but we take our teeth seriously
You
over here in
do.
the States.
Okay, thank you for understanding. You really do. It's like a big thing. But
Yeah, well, it's like I think it's like ingrained. Like, I mean, I'm sure I'd imagine every 6 months as a growing up, like your parents take you to get your teeth checked and cleaned and
sure, that's what happens. I don't know what your prices are like at the dentist, but in Australia, the dentist is one thing that's not covered. You know how we have Medicare and stuff.
yeah.
Um, but the dentist is not Medicare. So yeah, I mean it's like can you go?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's for kids, at least like in certain of again, all states are different, but it feels like like California really takes care of the kids. So no
Mm.
matter what, like if you can't afford healthcare, they've got you. So they're
Oh,
making
that's
sure
good.
the kids up till 18, if you need to, your dentist bill, everything's you're good to go.
And after 18, fuck you and your teeth.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you can work, you can get health care, you're fine. No, and I don't know, I just got off my like dental, because you can get dental care
Huh?
covered, but
Yeah.
mine just expired, unfortunately, and I feel like I missed the guy, I missed it because I feel like something's happening. I need to get a little
Yeah.
filling, but
Isn't that the way you have the thing and nothing happens? And then when you don't have it, it's like all hell breaks loose.
yeah, and I'm like, do I want to do this? But I guess I should go see the dentist. But
Mhm.
you just ask them, hey, do you take cash? No, I'm just kidding. Will you just help me out here? I don't know. I haven't. I
Or
need
you
to go
could
see.
do what my in-laws do and fly to Croatia.
Well, and a lot of people will, if they're close enough to like the border, you go down to Mexico, boom, 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 you're good to go.
Yeah,
You know?
reminded me of a plastic surgery disaster thing I watched where she'd done that.
Oh yeah.
I guess not all places are equal because it was not okay. It was not okay. I can't remember what happened to
There
her.
are these brothers and they're so hilarious. They're Australian. It's like a straight brother, and then he calls him his sassy brother. And he's so sad. He's always mad at his straight brother for something. But they went to Turkey, I think, to
Yeah.
get like hair implants.
Ah.
And it was they're just hilarious. So yeah, you see all of these guys flying back probably to Australia, and they're all like not sitting. Gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I love that, Jenny. Well done. Well, we better introduce ourselves.
Oh yeah. Welcome to the show, everyone. This is your host, Angela Montoya, with the most perfect teeth you'll ever encounter. I mean, I'm just out here just blinging, shining bright. You need sunglasses to look at
It's
me.
true.
I'm also the author of Sinner's Isle, which comes out in 6 weeks, although who knows when we're airing this. So it comes out on Halloween. And I am here with the coolest Australian, probably the Australian with the whitest teeth in Australia.
Thank you for noticing. I've been working on that.
I can tell, I've been really just rubbing off on you. I can tell, really rubbing off on you. Ladies and gentlemen and everybody, Melanie has the coolest purple lips today. She is doing it right.
Because I've been watching Glow Up. Whenever I watch Glow Up, I'm just like, I need to learn to do a really perfect, like velvety black lip and a really perfect velvety purple lip. I love it.
Yeah. Do you line your lips first?
I didn't. So that's why I was thinking, like, damn, like I thought, and if I get, speaking of teeth, if you notice it, rubbing off on my teeth, no, I didn't line it. I probably should have. Although I've got really shaky hands, so lining a lip is hard for me. But with it's like one of those, it's like a lip gloss brush, but there's paint on it, lip paint, lipstick even.
Okay. Yeah.
But
one might call it.
It's wet inside, so that's why I'm like, is it a lipstick when it's wet? Probably. Anyway, it goes on and then it kind of goes dry. So.
Yes. Well, you did a fabulous job. Are you a naturally like shaky fingered gal?
Oh, 100% since always. Because I have anxiety disorder. So like I tend to like have, but even if I'm trying to do something more precise, like I tend to get shaky hands. So I could never be a brain surgeon. Sorry, world. I'd be like, oh, there goes the temporal lobe.
They don't need that. Oh my gosh. No, because my daughter, she's naturally very shaky as well.
I always was, even as a teenager. And it's like there's times when my hands can be more steady if I'm really focused or if I'm like not particularly anxious that day or whatever. It's inconsistent, to be honest. Like there's times, if my blood sugars are low, like if I haven't eaten, I can get so shaky, quaky. Yeah. Fun facts. She needs to eat.
We like to learn. Yes, the girl needs to eat. Good to know.
Well, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Today was a really nice, productive day, just like in life. I mowed the lawn.
Yeah,
okay? I did. I mowed it so good. And I did a lot of laundry. Haven't put it away.
Ooh, laundry.
It's on my bed still, but I did it. It smells nice and clean.
It's not moving.
Just like little bit. Yeah,
it's not moving off the bed, is it?
No, we're not sleeping on the bed.
No.
Tonight. But yeah, like I did like a lot of things like that and like replied to emails and did stuff like, that kind of stuff. So I feel like nice and I have done stuff. I've completed things.
Yeah.
And it feels good to do that. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Because those little chores, they just loom over you for ages. So it does, and you can put them off, but that's almost a curse as much as it is a blessing because it kind of just, then you have all these little things just looming over you. So it's totally a very satisfying feeling to get those things done.
Exactly. And it's funny. It kind of makes me think of like how we started our yoga. And we were kind of talking about like when life gets hectic, it's always the good things that we're due for ourselves. Those seems to be the first things to go. Like taking care of your body, just doing yoga, meditation, whatever it is that you need, taking a little walk. It's like, oh, I don't have time for that. I have to get all of these things done. But it really is so valuable and important. And it's like it gives you that little breath, okay, I can keep going after,
Yeah.
so having that reminder of to do the yoga has been so helpful. And so good job, Melanie. Thank
Oh,
you for that.
I'm glad. Because I know that, like, it's always the times when things feel the most stressful that, like you said, we sacrifice those things that could help us weather it better. And yeah, like, I know you love a little challenge. So I was like, I'm gonna get this bitch on this challenge and like just guilt her into doing it because it will make you have just that little extra breath, like you said, just that break in amidst all the things swirling around. And since you find meditation hard to tune into, I thought yoga is really, being that it's physical, you're doing the things with your body, which is very meditative anyway. And it's giving you this. How do you feel doing it in your body?
So good. It is a reminder of how bad I've been treating my body, because I can't do a lot of the yoga poses well, but it reminds me of like how long I sit. I can sit between work and then writing. I sit like all freaking day. And so just moving your body and stretching feels so freaking good.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm so glad we started doing it because I've been wanting to have a regular practice for a while now because of exactly that reason. Like, we as writers spend an inordinate amount of time like in weird hunched over positions. And I actually noticed that my back was getting a bit curved forwards. And I was like, well, I'm not about that.
I've been nervous about that. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, do you know what I've got? I have
What?
to show you. I keep forgetting. My husband bought me this.
Well, that looks kinky.
Yeah, no, it does look kinky. For those who can't see, it's actually exactly for that. So you lay down, and sometimes I do meditation. You lay down, it goes here, and you're laying on the ground, and it helps stop that for riders. Just like,
okay.
I can't remember where it's from now, but since you said that, that's worrying you. It's always worried me too, because I'm sitting in front of screens so much.
Yeah.
I didn't want to end up kind of like fucking my spine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's meant to specifically try undo some of that there. But yoga does that naturally because you're stretching it. So I'm so glad you found some kind of like peace and relaxation from it. And yeah, we can just challenge each other to do it every day because it's only 15 minutes as well. That's what always gets me. When I find myself making excuses, I'm like, bitch, if you can't make 15 minutes out of your day to like stretch out your body and all the hours you're spending in front of screens, then I have a problem. I always guilt myself with it. I'm like, it's 15 minutes, Melanie, 15 minutes.
No, it's true. It's literally 15 minutes. And like, if you can't find 15 minutes just for yourself, then maybe we're doing something wrong, because we are the most important things in our lives, because hello, this is our vessel. So
yes. I
So
know why that made me emotional when you were like, this is our vessel. Like, you're so right. It is our vessel.
It's all we got, damn it.
Yeah. And I think society as a general, it's just like getting busier and busier and busier and further away from like quiet, restful moments, nature, natural things. So it is one little tool that we can have doing this yoga challenge and get you ready for your debut, because you're going to be busy.
Gonna be busy. But like with the yoga, you can take it anywhere. You could just, it's 15 minutes. You can do it anywhere. You could take it anywhere.
Yeah.
I love it.
And look, I apologize in advance because once you start doing it, you're going to miss it when you don't do it. Like, you'll just be like, well, damn, now it's like chiropractor or yoga.
Yeah, totally. No, thank you for this idea and for like basically forcing me to do it. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome, my friend, and it's keeping me accountable too. And for those who want to join the yoga challenge, I've actually made it on our at Pub Persuasion page on Instagram. I've put the links. What do you call those little bubbles on the main page?
Oh yeah,
highlights.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I put it as a highlight reel, so you can go back if you haven't been joining us day by day. You can go back and find the challenge we've been doing at any time and do the other ones. So it's all there.
Good job, Melanie. Good bloody job.
Yeah.
Well, very proud of you. Thank you for that. Well, how are you? Let's dig in.
I'm good, but it was a bit of a like rough week. I'm not gonna lie. A rough week in Queryland for me. Wow. Wow. I don't share much about my queering journey on here, I realize. And I was just like, today I'll just share. Today feels like the day for sharing because it was both a rough rejection, and it was rough because this particular agent is a dream agent and I adore her, and she's had my materials. She's had more than one of my materials, as in more than one manuscript. For almost a year, she held on to some of it. And I think the thing is, when an agent holds on to your stuff for that long, it's never a bad sign, right? If an agent is holding on to it that long, generally means they're interested, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's kind of been it's like a little nugget knowing that she had it. And I was just like, this big bad agent that I love has my stuff. And then yes, sadly this week, after many, many months of waiting, I got the no. And I had a day. I gave myself like a full day. Like I had a full emo moment. I didn't expect it because I'm getting better at picking myself up and just accepting that rejection is part of it. But I think when you wait so long and you feel so close with someone, it hurts. It fucking hurts even more.
Yes. Yeah. Well, especially, yeah. If it's
Yeah.
somebody that you could really, you're like, yeah, it'd be great, but I don't have like a relationship sort of,
Yeah.
and it's been that long. Yeah, I could see where you would have a moment and you deserved it.
Yeah. So I had my moment. I sat naked in the bath, the empty bath, and I just let the shower fall over me like samurai meditation style. And I had a cry. I'm dramatic. Writers get dramatic. This is writer realness. Like, I swear I was listening to Sia. There's big feelings happening when Sia's on
yeah.
the.
Yeah, with the shower running.
No, that was after.
Oh, okay. That would have been top tier. Like that would have been the moment.
No, I needed the shower to cry.
Okay.
But after, I was doing pseudo ballet in my, like, trying to copy the dance moves to Sia. And yeah, like I just kind of gave myself that day to just shut off all the screens, and in a weird way, I'm going to read the rejection. It was actually really nice. And I think I kind of want to read it in honor of our fellow queeriers in the trenches. I wanted to share this stuff because it's really fucking hard, and the wait times are longer than ever. And yeah, it felt like a rejection, but in a little way it felt like a victory as well. And you'll see why, the feedback she gave me. Dear Melanie, I hope you're having a nice week so far. I'm so sorry for the delay in getting back. Your stories have such intriguing premises. However, I don't believe I'm the right fit, so I'm afraid I'll have to pass. It's not a craft issue, so much as a gut feeling I rely on when deciding to ask for more. I truly believe another agent will feel differently, so please don't be discouraged. You're very talented, so please keep at it. We need your stories out in the world. Between that and your podcast, you're doing the good work, and I really do look forward to your inevitable success.
That is a really, really great like that's beautiful, and it's the truth. I mean, it really, really is. Your stories are so powerful and unique, and like everything. When Leanne was talking about like just going for it, our guest today, like just going for it and going for the quirky and the unique, and you'll find that special reader and an agent. And I was just thinking of like, I was like, well, yeah, that's Melanie. Like that is it. Your books are that. And it's going to happen. It's just finding the right champion for those beautiful words you write. So, but you're absolutely like, I mean, querying is so freaking hard. So you're allowed and rightly so to have moments where you're in the shower.
Yeah.
And like even I was talking to you earlier about that. Like other people take queering really, really hard especially when you first kind of start. And it's tough, especially when you're seeing other people who get the agent and then move, get the deal or whatever. It's really, really hard. So you got to do whatever you have to do to protect your peace, really.
It's kind of why I wanted to share today, because it is really hard. And I know, like, it's especially on social media, the temptation is to kind of just share the good moments, right? Like, and I know something people often say to me is like how positive I am and like whatever. And it's one side. It's one side of the coin. Like the other side is just as real. And yeah, like I wanted to kind of just be like, hey, like, yeah, sometimes it can look like we're doing big bad things and getting all the requests, but it's just as hard. It's hard for all of us. It's a hard industry. But like I also do see the triumph in this moment as well. Like to have that kind of rejection, it really is bolstering in as much as it's devastating, because you're like, this person respects me, but it's literally like a breakup. That's how I feel. It's like, you had your eyes on someone, high school crush, but they're just not that into you. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy and you are someone's perfect person. It just wasn't them. And like, I think doing this as long as I have, maybe it's delusional, maybe it's not. But at this point, that's how I genuinely feel. So I did let myself have this really emo day, but I genuinely kind of the next day was like, she just wasn't my person. And I think the world of her. And I'm so grateful that she took the time to give me that kind of gracious reply.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are seen, my fellow query friends. You're not alone. And like, yeah, like newsflash, it's going to be fucking hard. And it might be years. But if you feel like this is what you're meant to be doing, just keep going. Like, I know some people say don't keep going, but I think if you have that thing inside you, you already know this is what you want to do. And maybe it won't be the way you expect, but at some point, I think if you put in the work, you can find a place at the table. Like you always say, I do believe there's room at the table for everyone who's stubborn enough to keep doing this, So
That's
it was shit, but it was okay. I'm getting better at taking shit parts.
Well, and I think you're getting better because you are realizing it's not a personal thing where, when you first start, you kind of think, oh, they don't like me, but it's not you. Like she loves you. She knows you, like in the pod and everything. It's not a you thing. It's just what she knows she can do with it. That's where it's at. She doesn't know that where she can go with it. So it's not a personal thing. And I think that helps, not get over it, but just like ease it a little bit, because she loves you and it's just a personal, or I'm saying personal, but a preference.
No, I know exactly what you mean, 100%. And I think that like it's regardless of what happens with that book, it's those kinds of interactions that make me able to keep going. Like we were kind of talking about that with Leanne, like about what made her get to the point where she like trusts her work or whatever. But like for me, I was thinking about it after and I was like, yeah, it's really those checkpoints of people who I value. And that's why I think it really is crucial to find like a community that can support you, because you could be a great writer. You probably are a great writer if you found this podcast.
Yes.
Just like everyone listening to this podcast is going to succeed, and I believe that, but like
we're manifesting it.
Yeah, but it might not be that book, it might not be that time, and you need the community, the voices you trust to be like, hey, this is good, it's just not the right time for me, not the right time for the book, whatever. Like, and yeah, I'm really grateful for the community I do have, because I think, I don't know if I feel like pitch wars for me, I kind of need to let go of pitch wars in a way. I think doing pitch wars gave me like an unrealistic expectation of what I thought would happen next. I think
Mm-hmm.
for a long time, I was like putting this deep, heavy pressure on myself that now that happened, well, the next step should happen shortly after, because that's what we see happen through stuff like that. But I think like it's like Leanne said, like I was very lucky to get that opportunity. Like, was that my best book? I don't know. Probs not. Probs not. But what I do know is, and I was going to come back to this, working on something else, darling listeners, if you're in the trenches, I believe is absolutely crucial, because I think one of the things that really helped me not dwell on that, and I really could have, I waited a long time to hear back from that agent. The thing is having this new shiny project that I'm so excited about. And I'm like, well, I know this is better anyway.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like one of those things. Well, whatever happens with those, because I'm already moving on and I know I'm doing more
Yeah.
and better for sure. 100%.
Mm. And I'm really grateful you brought up Lissa's podcast last time we chat, because I have been listening to that and it really is just what I need. It feels like a craft course in a way. Like it's very, and their whole focus is like the craft is the one thing you can control. You know, you
Yes.
keep leveling up. And like, that's literally my plan. I am just going to keep getting better and better and better until somebody's like, my God, bring me this girl.
I love that though. No, I just was on for Latinx Kid Lit. I was hosting something and Zoraida was on there and she
Oh,
was saying,
you did so good.
dude, I was so nervous, but also kind of not because of this. Like it had we not done the podcast, I would have never said yes because I wouldn't have known that I could do it. You know what I mean? But I knew that we can talk and make things work. And I knew even through the nervousness, I could get there. I could do it. But yeah, had we not had the podcast, absolutely, I would have been like, no, thank you.
You killed it. You killed it. I'm
Thank you.
in the middle of it. I was shining with pride because you are a natural. You were a natural at this already, but like, yeah, I was just like, my girl.
No, honestly, it was really great. A great experience because I was so nervous. But I did it anyway. And I was like, I can do this. I got this. But anyway, Zoraida was saying, and Zoraida Cordova has books. I mean, she's got books on books on books. And she was saying like, and I was shocked. She was like, I've never made a bestsellers list, which I was really shocked because I just assumed she made it all the time.
Yeah.
But she was like, but I don't care. I just want to write a better book each time. And each time I just want to get, write something that gets to somebody a little bit deeper. And I was like, oh, dang. For her who's been here since like 2012 or something, I don't remember what she said, but a while. And she still remembers the why. I was like, that's exactly it. Just trying to get better at your craft and really like remembering why you started in the first place, which is to touch lives in some way, even if it's just one person who's like, oh, that made me happy for, this time. It's a beautiful thing.
It's so beautiful. And I think though, like everybody needs to cut themselves some slack because we do this because of big feelings. So don't be surprised when you have big feelings about something that you created getting rejected. But you're exactly right in saying that it's not personal in any way. Like that side of it genuinely is business. And like I would really encourage writers who want to pursue it as a career to develop that business side of you, because I could not have been like this a couple of years ago and got a rejection like this. I could not have been like, she's not that into me and just laugh about it. But I can do that now because I'm just like, it's just that side of it is just business, nothing personal. But I'm allowed to have we are allowed to have big feelings about it too, because what would be the point of doing this? Like you don't become a creative because of just like business, right? We become creatives because of fire and passion and like you said, desire to like add something to this world and make it a little bit brighter than it was when we arrived, right? Like, so yeah, like you are going to have fucking big feelings about it, and that's okay too. But just like shake it off, keep going, write more things, and network.
Yeah, just keep going, keep building your community. I think that's pretty perfectly said, Melanie.
Thank you
I
for
don't
coming to my TED Talk.
You have spoketh well. I think our listeners really are going to just gobble it up, because I feel like they need to hear it too and have that reminder. And especially what you said, like, you're allowed to have the big feelings. It's so true. It's so true. Yeah. Don't diminish your feelings.
Yeah, but find people who are gonna be like, girl, same, but they're like further ahead than you, and you can look up to them and be like, well, like Nikki Payne left me a lovely comment on my post the other day, and like just that one comment, I was just like, we are the same, like we are all feeling this thing, we are all doing this thing, and once you realize that, it doesn't feel so hurtful, the rejections that come your way. So
yeah,
thank you for again providing the space. And like, yeah, it's scary talking about this stuff, but I really did want to be a bit more authentic about that side of things, because I know I've been more quiet about querying stuff.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, honestly.
Thank you. Should we let's quickly do Leanne's bio?
Yeah.
And then
honestly, it's so funny that like everything Leanne said, like, again, as usual, it was so like perfectly in tune with what kind of we're experiencing, and it was just like, oh, love it.
Yeah, synchro destiny is real.
Yeah, I was gonna say that word, but I was like, I'm gonna mess it up, so thank you.
Do you want to read the bio today? I feel like I talked a lot today.
I shall. Leanne Schwartz grew up in Davis, California, reading piles of books and acting in local theater productions. In high school, she cemented her status as a massive nerd, running a local theater company. Dang. Attending the California State Summer School for the Arts for creative writing, and taking 3 literature classes senior year. This girl don't play.
No.
She has played Lady Macbeth, Lady Capulet,
chlamydia something.
I apologize, Leanne. Clytemnestra.
I'm so glad you went with Cly instead of where you started.
I know. Clytemnestra and Hera. Perhaps I'm so sorry, everybody. Why do you let me read these? Perhaps one reason she writes such vengeful, murderous girls. Leanne completed her English degree and master's in education at UC Davis. When she's not teaching English and poetry, she can be found baking pizzelle. Directing scenes for the Student Shakespeare Festival and singing along to showtunes. She lives in San Diego with her family. I apologize for butchering.
You should never apologize. I feel like your bio is going to become iconic. I just have to tell you one thing quickly before you go, which is why I started cackling. Because you were like, something, dang. And I have to tell you, we've known each other for so long and recorded so regularly at this point. You have rubbed off on me. And for some reason, in the last month, I find myself just going about my day, and I'll just be like, something will, or like a bird hits the window. So I'd be like, dang. I just like the amount of times I say it throughout the day over and just like, dang. So I don't know when it happened, but you have passed this on to me.
I love it. That makes my heart happy.
Oh,
it really does.
Yes.
And so did Leanne Schwartz.
Yeah, let's get her on.
And I'm so excited to talk with you guys.
We are so excited. Just seeing you makes me excited. Your beautiful necklace and the book.
Yeah. I had to have the Milo pendant. Yeah.
That's perfect. That you just feel right. Your whole vibe, the book, everything just seems like it's all coming together.
I got the aesthetic. I got the vibe. Like, they did such a beautiful job. It was so powerful. It just like washed over me too.
So. Your book cover is like nothing I've ever seen. It is so cool.
Like it's so unique. Thank you.
What's
is.
under the dust jacket? Can we have a
Oh,
sneak?
Oh,
I feel like
yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
it was something stunning as well.
There's the stars, and there's
Oh.
Gia, and there's stars on the back. So Milo's stars. He loves the stars, and Gia just say she has a connection with the moon. We'll leave it at that. So it's at the start of their chapters above each one for each point of view, either the moon or the stars. So that was amazing that they put that on there. I had no idea. They sent me one copy like ahead of the box, and I opened it up and just could not believe that they had done that. It was such a nice surprise.
So cool. It's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. And I love that they tied it all in. Makes me want it even more. So I actually, where is my copy now that I think about it?
This is the copy my husband grabbed to start reading last night. I was like, wait, I need a copy. Oh, good. There's one right here.
That's so cool. So is this his first time reading?
He read it. And we couldn't remember, but when he started reading last night, he was like, yeah, no, I haven't. I think he read the version before Pitch Wars. So like way back, like the opening was totally different. So yeah, he's been waiting to read the final hardback version.
Yes. I was thinking this about Sinner's Isle. It might be a whole new book by the time I read it. Like, because I also read the Pitch Wars version. I'm like genuinely excited to reread.
Yeah, it is amazing. Like how, like when we got out of Pitch Wars, you think this is it. Like it's so good. It's so clean. And then it goes through more and more and more. And it becomes like something not brand new, but like a very like put together version of itself. So
yeah, much more polished. Yeah.
Much more polished. So I'm so excited to read your book. It sounds so freaking cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just got into just being nosy little bitches and just like hopped right on you. We couldn't help ourselves. As soon as I saw that cover, I was like, it just makes me so happy.
Feel very lucky.
Congratulations, honestly. I mean, how freaking exciting. Well, we'll just go with our questions because I know we could probably just like talk about whatever the entire time. But we'll stick to the script, which is hard to do sometimes. Let's start from the very beginning.
We like scripts.
Yeah. So we'll stick to it for now. But, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, did you always want to be a writer?
Yeah. So I always was reading. I was, I always identified with like the characters in books who were writers, just kind of naturally, and just was always writing like poems and plays and short stories. But, it wasn't really something that I thought I would do. Like, I'm going to be a writer. I was like, I need to do something that makes money and is stable. I was just like raised, like not to live that like on the edge artist life. And so it was only when I was like established as a teacher that, and I was working with teenagers and reading a bunch of young adult. It was like the height of, Twilight and Hunger Games, like all of my youngest students were just like obsessed. And so like, and then I started getting into writing, like actual novels at that point. And then it was years and many, book shaped things later before I tried to actually go like, I can actually like try to learn about publishing and try to get something published, like I was just writing for me and I knew it was a mess for a really long time. So
I like that you said you went into it going, I want to learn about publishing, because I think so often, like something I've been thinking about a lot recently is like the separation between the business side of writing and the craft side. I think it's such a smart way to go into it if you're looking to do it as a career, to be like, I want to learn. Yeah. It's such a simple but profound way to start.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot lately too, like, because with like debuting, it's like there's so much like admin and on that side of it apart from the writing. But yeah, like getting the lay of the land, like seeing like what you're up against beforehand.
Yeah, that's so smart. And then, so how did you like find Pitch Wars? I mean, was that something that you like have been trying for, or
Yeah. I subbed to Pitch Wars a few times over the years. I think I was on Twitter And you know, like that's when I really started like learning more about like writing like for today's market. And I had friends who wanted to, you know, sub to it. So like I would give it a swing, but you know, I got like one request. And then the year that we all did Pitch Wars, I got requests from all the mentors. So I was like, okay, I can tell that I'm like onto something now. Like maybe I'm leveling up. Like I had been like subbing for, you know, like probably 3 or 4 different years. And, you know, as the pandemic, and I was like, okay, I'm going to like focus and hopefully, you know, but you know that it's like a numbers game and that it's, you know, you're just really lucky. Like so many wonderful people don't get in. And so it was, yeah. And I just, you know, had seen friends go through it and, you know, make those connections finally. So I had written this book. I had been outlining it that fall, but then sat down and wrote it like during lockdown summer. And I was like, okay, I want to get it ready in time for Pitch Wars. I was very focused, like on like having it ready in time for that. I hadn't queried it at all. I just was trying to get it ready for Pitch Wars. Yeah.
It's almost like every time I talk about Pitch Wars, it's just like this bittersweet thing because it doesn't exist anymore. It's not happening. And like, I think Author Mentor Match also.
I had done Author Mentor Match too with a previous book. It was the only book I ever queried before Prayer.
Oh, cool. Okay. See, and it's those things like they're so great and like really nice for the community. Even if you don't get into it, it was like finding a community, you know, and on Twitter. I mean, it feels like we're sort of missing this connection that we had, you know, just a few years ago, where it was like writers could find a place to all go and meet and chat. And like, you know, we're all kind of on the same playing field. And, you know, now that we have X, it's no one's on there. My damn app doesn't even work half the time.
I posted my book. No, I posted like my book is published and like it started like scrolling up and down and like flat. And I was like, it's dead. It made it. And I'm only on there for a little promo now. It was demonically malfunctioning.
It is though. Every time I like find the perfect gift to send a friend, it will just malfunction. And no matter how many times I load the page, it won't send it. So thanks for too many people. That was a choice that they're regretting, I'm sure.
It's sad though, but it's like because Twitter was such a big place for the writing community. And so it's like I feel like I was just having this discussion, or was I listening to someone talk about it? I don't know. Maybe I just felt really like I was a part of it. But where it's just like where do you find, you know, the community now? And so like, you know, I just kind of mourn that connection a little bit. But I'm so glad that at least we had that, you know, for that time and got to you know, interact with writers who were like at that same time.
I learned so much, like published authors doing craft threads and then like the mentorship programs, even if you didn't get in, just like picking up on like how things worked in the industry. Like
I have to find some way, something, but
hopefully something new will emerge.
I wanted to ask, so after Pitch Wars, because that was the wild time too, right? How was the process from there? Like, did you query right after?
Well, yeah. So I was like braced for it, but it was very much like, okay, like anything could happen. You're in Pitch Wars. And it was very much like showcase. Oh no, you know, like that slow, like, oh no, it's not happening. In fact, you are one of the losers of the showcase. Like
you're talking to me right now. You're talking to me. I am feeling this in my bones.
Sorry. But you know that like, and you're like so happy for your friends that like everything they want is happening. And at the same time, you're like, yeah, this is my course right now. This is my version of the story. But I was like determined. I sent, you know, I had a few requests and I sent a few queries off and then queries to other agents, you know, that I was ready to query at that point. Just not a lot happened. But I was very determined. I was like, okay, if I'm not going to be like that success story, I'm going to be the success story of like, she persisted. She wrote another book. Like she came out swinging like the next fall, as soon as agents opened again after August, like she was ready to go again. And I had started what became my book two, To a Darker Shore, before Pitch Wars, and like, you know, banged it out that spring. I revised Prayers opening again. And did like one more like Twitter pitch events. So those were definitely useful to me back in the day. Like, you know, a year and a half ago, when it was still functional, and got, you know, just sent it to like a few more people, just like this is the last time I'm going to send it out. I'm really excited about this new project. And then, it was actually the day of the final Pitch Wars showcase the next year, that class. And I was feeling very sorry for myself because I knew all the agents would be very busy reading all of their wonderful books for, you know, 3 months. Like I had been, you know, I had started querying To a Darker Shore even at that point. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is the one. And if it's not the one, it's not going to be anything because I love this book. And then I started getting requests for both books at the same time and having to nudge agents about 2 books at once, which Query Manager is not built for. It will let you upload 1 book. So never query 2 books at the same time, kids. And all of a sudden it was like a whole year. And then like within a month, I had an agent and a book deal. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was weird. So
I love that though, but that tends to be the case when you've been putting that much work in for that long. Like you're ready to go. Like, and you've got books. You can probably pitch some of your old ideas now that didn't get an agent then and rework it.
Right. Well, yeah, we've done the backlog. Like Tad's comes out in April. So it's ready to go. It's the next season, I think.
That is so cool. Yeah, because I remember seeing like your book and then another book. And I was like, this bitch has been working. So you were behind the scenes. I mean, you were busy. You weren't, you know, you were staying in the grind.
Yeah. And I like I said, I was like, if nobody loves, you know, the YA fantasies, like it's never going to happen. Like I learned so much from Pitch Wars and from like swapping books with friends afterwards and from my mentors. And I was like, I knew that with my book too, I was like, this is as good as anything I can do. If they don't like this, they're not gonna like anything I do. And I wrote like an adult rom-com. Like I was ready to go. And then they were like, okay, actually we'll take both.
Oh my gosh. That is so cool.
Yes. How do you feel about all of it?
Grateful. It's exciting. It's been unexpected. You know, there was a certain point where I was like, this book maybe will come back eventually, but then, you know, my editor ended up loving it. So it all, I'm glad, like people have been so excited about it that, you know, you kind of like mentally move on. But people have been so excited. I'm like, I'm really glad that it got its chance.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like the very last time I sent it out. Yeah. And that was going to be it. Not the last time because it worked, but like I was done. And that was when it happened.
Like just not like persisting and continuing on and like always on, like I said, on the grind and just staying focused. Do you have like querying tips or like advice that kind of got you through?
Yeah. I mean, for queries, like to focus on like selling your book, like don't try to, like I say, like sell, don't tell, like don't try to tell everything about your book. Like try to think about like you're trying to get someone to pick up your book in the store or something, you know, like what's going to make it the most intriguing. And I think that carries into when you're like planning your projects. Like I always write a query before the book, right? Because it's like because like I would go to write like back like those other times, you know, trying to get ready for Pitch Wars and writing queries for them, even though I never queried the book. I'd be like, this isn't really working. And I'd be like, it's because your idea is just isn't strong enough, you know? And so like, I like writing the query early on and just like, when you're coming up with your concept, you know, just like be weirder. Like just,
yeah.
My mentor has talked about that sometimes. Like, I think she says like, lean into your weird and just like, one of my favorite books when I was a kid, one of the characters asked the other, like, doesn't it bother you like when people tease you about things? And he's like, no, like take whatever they see as your weakness and make it your weapon, like emphasize it, like, and then they can never touch you. Like, and I think that's true for writing, like just you like, because whatever is like the most unique thing to you, like that's going to make you excited and like, kick your heels while you're thinking about your book. And like, you might go like, oh, like when you're actually like laying down the words, like, oh, this is really weird, like, do I want people to read this? Yeah. But like, you don't need to appeal to everyone, like agents or readers. Like like deeper you go into your own little niche, like you'll connect more deeply with the right readers for your book. And that's all you need. There's so many people that there are definitely plenty of weirdos who are the same kind of weird as you. So that when I started doing that, that's when people started going like, oh, I'd actually like to read this. So
yes. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And it reminds me, I was just listening to our dear friend Lissa Mia Smith, also has her own podcast now, Turning to Story. And I was listening to it the other day, and I think it was there that they were just like, if you pause and you think, oh, my character shouldn't say, oh, they could never say that. Write it. Write it. That's exactly what they should say. And you can always trim it back later if it doesn't feel
right
true to the story. But like, yeah, it's really freeing way to write. And you're so right. Like, that's how you're going to find your people, by just being your weird, authentic, quirky self.
Yeah. When I was starting to write prayer, I was like, okay, this time I'm going to write like bold, like as bold as I can, like Lisa says. Yeah.
Now we have to know. Tell us about A Prayer for Vengeance, because yes, bold, we are here for it.
So it's about a religious scribe and poet. He's autistic and he tends the sacred statues that protect the city for centuries, that were gifted to the city to protect it from monsters and invaders. And he, until the statue that he might be just a tiny little bit in love with, just, on a platonic level, disappears. And right around the same time that something or someone begins killing the city's holiest men. So he races for answers, and he only finds them when the murderer turns and attacks him. And it turns out that Gia was not a statue that was made in the image of a girl protecting the city, but was the actual girl who was turned to stone. And the man who is the city's hero and, holy leader is actually the man who betrayed and trapped her. And she is seeking to avenge her sister that she unthinkingly and accidentally helped this man to usurp. So she is awoken, and she's seeking to avenge this immortal tyrant. And so they have to race, to topple him before Milo is thrown to the monsters outside the city, and she turns back to stone forever.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Does this have an audiobook?
It does. It
Okay,
does.
good.
Read by Natalie Duke, who I just adore. She puts so much emotion into every line. Yeah.
Sold.
Yes.
I'm gonna get the audiobook. I have a credit. So.
Yeah.
I have a credit too. I was just like, we're both about to go and download.
Wow.
It sounds freaking incredible, I have to say. Like, you had me hook, line, and sinker. What inspired you to write it?
I have been thinking about like art and like what gets labeled beautiful and monstrous, and like a piece of art like reclaiming herself. And so I kind of like settled on statues as like a very specific way that people like carve their truth into history. Like, this is before the whole summer when people were like tearing down all the statues. I was like revising the book by then, and I was like, what is happening? Like, this is like my book coming to life. And so I was just kind of thinking, like, what if, you try to like stamp your version of history on the world, and what if, one of the statues woke up and wanted to tell her own version, and it didn't match the version of the people in power? And what if there was an adorable wannabe historian who then had to decide what he was going to believe? And just like, I think I was always kind of obsessed with like, like old stories where people get turned to statues, like in Return to Oz, like she finds the city Like so good. She finds a city with all the statues, like the headless statues, and like Narnia, and I think probably like Madonna's Like a Prayer probably like burrowed into my brain. Like I was way too young to be watching that. And lodged there and came out, and just like English teacher stuff. Like there's definitely like John Donne's Holy Sonnet and things like that. Romeo and Juliet. And just like I was started off with the idea, and I wasn't sure like who the characters were going to be. And I wanted to like take the dangerous, monstrous love interest and the bookish heroine, like very like Twilight, and like gender swap it, like what if she was the one coming up like, I'm gonna murder you. Maybe.
My gosh, I thought of Narnia straight away, that scene when all the statues are there. And you're right, there's something about statues, like almost a lifelike, almost like a soul-like quality to it's like weathered time. It's seen things.
Yeah.
What would it tell you about what it had seen? I feel that way about houses as well. Like all the stories a house collects from the people that live in it over time.
I love writing like the city and like the temple, like Gia's point of view, and like how the city's changed like over 1,000 years. Like some places are the same and some are very different, and like things like that.
That is so fun and unique. And I mean, what a like a really, really cool idea. Like it just sounds so stinking cool. Now what happens when you're feeling like stuck creatively? Like how do you kind of break through that? Did you ever feel that way with this book?
I think I feel that way like all the time.
Relatable.
Like you'll be like, oh, I don't know how to make this work, or like it's just not I get in my car and I go for a drive. Like I used to be really annoyed when I had an errand to write. I'm like, I'm trying to write. And now I'll be like, does anyone need anything from Target? Get in my car, drive over the hill to Target, and be like saying like dialogue, like acting out scenes to myself, like because no one's around, And by the time, I get home, I'm like throwing bags on the floor and like racing and opening up my laptop. And my husband's like, oh boy, like, okay, I can see what's happening. I'll put it away. Like, I'm like, don't talk to me. I got to write it down. Like I was working on a synopsis over the summer and just totally stuck, and at a red light, like ended up having like a total dance party in my car because it all clicked, it's just like getting away from the computer screen, right? Like doing something else, then your brain can solve the problem, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's the truth though. And Target has magical powers for one. There's something about just like walking down the aisles or what, it's just something about it. Just clicks.
I need to put like the Target drive up and go like in the acknowledgments of the next book. Thank you. Thank you for giving me an excuse to get out of the house.
That's the truth. No, and it's something about like mundane things where you're just like your brain sort of clicks off because you're so used to doing these things, and it feels like that's when it really unlocks. It's fine. I was mowing the lawn today, and I was just like, if anybody would have saw me, they probably thought I was just talking to myself or singing a song, but I was like literally doing dialogue and like acting it out. And I was like anybody here? Hopefully not. Hopefully nobody saw me because I was in a real intense scene. I was really going in.
No, like the most over dramatic nonsense, and then you're like, okay, what's staying?
Yeah, like none of it, but it was fun.
Like making yourself cry, coming back.
I would pay good money to see you mowing the lawn and like exuberantly spitting out dialogue. Like, please leave the camera on next time and just forget it's there. I need to see. Good marketing.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think has been the hardest part of all of this for you?
Copy edits.
Really?
It got easier the second time. I'm glad I've already turned in, booked it, like it's done. It's arcs. So like I'm like, okay, it's not so bad. But the first time I was like, I'm gonna die. These copyists are gonna murder me. No, I think the hardest, it wasn't even, I don't know. I think it was when you know what you want to be writing, but it's not coming out the way you want yet. Like it wasn't even like, this whole process has been really great. Like the edits were hard, but I've enjoyed this. Like I'm very happy. And even when you're like having those deadlines and you're like, okay, I still really love my book, but I wish I had, a week instead of 3 days to read through it one last time, like I'm sick of it now. But I think it was before like all of the publication stuff, when you're like, I see the books, like these are the books that I love and I want to be like, how do I get there? And like you write and you're just like, oh, like this isn't where I want it to be yet. Once I got to the point where I was like, hey, I actually want to show this to people. Like, no, I just thought it was pretty fun. I mean, it is hard when you know that you're like, okay, I'm desperate for people to read this now, and like nobody wants to read it. You're getting those passes on just the query in the first 5 pages, and you're like, no, like it's definitely hard. It's definitely, like you feel very sad, and like pretend you're in a music video with your writing playlist playing, looking out the window sadly, like, when will someone love me back? But
always
I don't know, I feel like once you're happy with your writing, I don't know, I feel like that carries you through everything. So
how do you think you got to that place? I'm like, what like broke through for you, do you feel?
I don't know. I've been thinking about this. Like, I wrote a lot of really mediocre hopefully not this paper. And sharing with people, like in reading, like, because it's hard. You can't like compare to published books, but like you can read them. And I don't know, reading some craft books, but like the right craft books, because like I would read some and they would not help at all. I'd spend a year like trying to make certain ones work. Save the Cat, man, that worked for me. Like, and I know some people hate it, but I love it. I adore it. Things like that, like, I don't know, like where I think that a lot of it has to do with like when I started keeping in mind like the reader and like where you were taking the reader along, like every page, like what are they thinking, what are they expecting now, and like what do you throw at them, and like how to like keep them interested and tied in, and like how are you gonna like I like Susan Denner's like the magic cookies method, if you've heard of that, where like if she thinks that it's gonna be boring to write something, she puts in some magic cookies, like something exciting that makes her excited to write the scene. And so it's like you have to put in things that like you're going to be excited to write about, but also like the readers, like, here, magic cookies, and then like pulling them along. Like, so I think that was hard for me to like not just be like caught up in the words on the page, but be like, no, you're a storyteller, like bring the reader along. So.
I think that's really smart, because it's like you're almost picturing that your audience is there and you're telling them, and you like have to. That's like one of my favorite bits of writing advice I just saw on an Instagram reel. I think it was Margaret Atwood, and she was like, there's only one rule, which is hold my attention. And I feel like that's that, having that invisible audience keeping you accountable, of like not just pouring your guts endlessly on the page, but also thinking like, are my listeners coming along with me for this journey, or have I like wound up in like a little grotto of self?
Yeah.
I need to coin that, the grotto of self.
Yes. We've like a little on a t-shirt with a statue. No, because it's such a balance, because like everyone's like, oh, turn off your inner editor, like, and it's horrifying, like when you're describing, like, oh, they're kissing and people are gonna read it. But like you have to think about like, why am I putting each word on the page? Like, what is it gonna do for the reader? Yeah.
Especially I think if you want to do it as a business, like as a career, like that mindset, there is like a twist from doing it as a hobby to trying to do it career wise.
Well, like, and I started off doing like NaNoWriMo, but I honestly, I think when I stopped ever doing word counts, I started churning out much better drafts, because I would just be putting stuff down versus like stopping and going, is this going where I want it to go? And like focusing more on the story.
Yeah.
Just didn't work for me.
That's a great like advice to hold on to, because sometimes just those things just don't work for our brains. Like for a manuscript or whatever. Everybody has their like way of ticking. getting there.
Yeah, and my brain is very slow and stupid.
No.
So it needs the time. It needs the time to process and go back and go, wait a second, let me fix this.
Okay, that's relatable. Like I really take a long time to reach, or it can be instant. It's either instant and I know straight away, or it'll be like I'm just coming back to a manuscript that I started a year ago and I'm like, oh, it's all making sense. But I like had to leave it for a year.
Yeah, it's got to stew a little bit. It's gotta go through it for sure.
Yeah.
What has been like the best, most rewarding part of this journey so far?
It's definitely been like people saying like how much like Gia and Milo mean to them. Like people cosplayed as Gia's, like for the cover reveal. Like they hadn't read any of the book yet even. They were just so excited that there was a fat fantasy, like a second world fantasy heroine, like front and center on a cover, like her entire body. And so as the book has, been going out in arcs and now final copies, and it's out there, it's been out there for 3 days now. People have been, like messaging me and just saying like, oh, this is like so important to me that there was a character like this. And the same thing, people saying that Milo's neurodivergence like made them feel seen. Like anytime I was just like, oh, I hope I nailed it. This is the first time I sent an autistic character out like beyond more than like 1 or 2 CPs. So to feel like people found him relatable, like that just kind of made my entire day. That was really great.
Oh, it's beautiful, honestly. Like, and congratulations on just everything, because seeing your book out in the world is so special, and it's just so exciting. And
Thanks. I just feel very lucky, like, because there is a certain point where you're like, is it because like people can't relate to it? Like, do people not want this particular point of view? A lot of people would be like, well, I like this point of view, but I hated this character's chapter, and it took until someone, could find room in their heart for both a very angry, like stab first, ask questions later kind of a girl, and then like a very like daydreaming, overthinking kind of a character.
I love it.
It sounds like I would love them both. There's room in my heart for all of those. Stabby, and softy, because I think I'm both.
Right? Like we all have these different parts to ourselves.
Yeah. That feels real. That really does. I'm a little bit of both. A little stabby, a little cinnamon at the same time. So I can see why people would relate. Okay. Now our favorite question, which sometimes stumps people, sometimes not. But looking back at all you've accomplished, what advice would you give a younger version of yourself before you started this journey?
Here is a beat sheet. Study it. Use it. Stop writing books that don't have plots. Like honest, like when I would see them and I would like kind of try to use them, and when I really committed to outlining, that made writing so much more fun for me. I know it doesn't work for everyone, but for me, that was the advice that I needed. It was like, stop meandering, get down to business. And don't be afraid to say stat.
To say stat. Yeah.
It's your book. It's okay. It's all right. You won't make anyone mad.
Great advice though, because I feel like a lot of people would be nervous, to be like, no, this needs to stay to your editor or whoever, So great advice. It's very practical.
Yeah, no, and I very much enjoyed like being edited, and like I have a brilliant editor, but just like, sometimes when you guys are, fixing the sentence in the copy edits, it's okay to be like, oh, we need this little nugget of information. It's okay, it can stay.
It needs to be there.
No one will be mad at you for stopping.
And I feel like I just received a very important reminder from the universe that as excited as I am about the new direction my book is taking, I need to stop and do my beat sheet again because it's changed so much. So thank you for that. I feel attacked, but I feel seen.
Like, so I'm not obsessive. Like, I don't do math. No, but just, the components.
No, you're so right though, because my early books were exactly that. Like, was it telling a story? Who knows? You get lost in a chapter. Like, where does it go? Like, it does. And that comes back to what you were saying before. can your listener, your reader, follow along with you? Are they getting the same story, this brilliant concoction in your head? Which I think is why a lot of writers, that meme that goes around and they're like, the story in my head, and it's like a beautiful painting, and like how it comes out, stick figure. It's that, right?
But I mean, like, and it was fine. Meandering is good when you're starting out, because like you're still learning, like you can have a great plot but still not know how to write dialogue, you know, like, so like all of that practicing, even if it was almost more like just an exercise, you know, gets you where you need to go. At least it did for me.
It's never wasted. No time writing.
Right.
It's all training, and books come back. And yeah, I see our time is like ticking away to oblivion. Like, it has evaporated. It always does with Pitch Wars Friends. And we've so loved having you on, and we're so cheering for your success and all the wonderful things that are coming your way.
Well, thank you. I love talking with you guys. I'm excited about Sinner's Isle coming so soon.
It's happening, baby. Yes, we'll be maybe on the shelves together sometime.
Yes.